banned at D&D tables the world over, ridiculed and laughed at online, hounded offline at their own cons by mic-wielding men with broccoli hair. These creatures have been persecuted in every possible way. Which creatures? Well, the internet gave them a cruel name, a name that means half-formed, Quasimo. Furries. Furries have been in D&D from its inception, and yet they are simultaneously extremely hated and excluded by the community, with furry stuff remaining at the very top of ban lists for content DMs say no to at the table, but also extremely catered to by the designers with an impossibly high amount of options made only for them? Why? What's the story of furries in D&D? How did they get added into the game? Why are there like 52 furry options to play with in the game? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? And, most importantly, can we change that while satisfying both those that hate these options and those that love them? I'm Antonio D'Amico, this is Pointy Hat, and we're going to attempt just that in this brand new episode of D&D with a Twist, Furry Edition.
All the single furries, all the single furries, all the single furries, now put your paws up.
There's this perception that furries are like this new thing in the game. Like in the good old days, only little kids with bowl cuts and 80s fits and like the whitest of dwarven men played the game exclusively. And then 5e happened and suddenly the gates of hell opened and like a girl touched a D&D book and furries raided the game and everything is ruined now. Which is a totally valid way of seeing things. Definitely very valid and very cool. The main problem with that take though is that it's how do you say, not true.
It's false. No way. Not this time.
For as much as it may hurt some, furries and other cringe fest things have been a part of D&D from the beginning. D&D itself was a cringe fest for most of its history. Enough of a cringe fest for some wackos to believe it should be outlawed because, the devil from the Bible?
She's not a Christian!
Listen, I would love to do a video on the Satanic Panic, and at this point I will, because we're barreling towards video essay territory on this channel every day, but today is not that day. The main reason why that is not true is because, sorry if this is bad news, D&D has always had furries in it. This is not a 5e thing. It's not even a 3e thing. Want me to prove it? Fine. Tabaxi, which to me are like the poster boy of D&D furries, were added into the game, wanna guess? First edition. First edition of D&D had Tabaxi. Tabaxis are older than tieflings. They've always been here. They looked like this. I love early D&D art. It's like looking at cave paintings. So, if furries have not been covertly added to D&D in the last 5 minutes while I wasn't looking, why is there such a negative sentiment over them in the community? Well, this is an easy answer. It's because people don't like furries. People haven't liked them for a long time. I wish we kept up that energy for things. I remember when we thought that microtransactions were bad and we were mad at that, and now people are like willingly engaging with gacha slop in the open, like in front of God. That used to get you laughed at out of the room, but it's not as simple, is it? That will be a straw man. It's not that people just don't like furries. And here's when I have to give it to the haters a bit, because I'm a bit in their camp for this one. Furries certainly are not new to D&D, sure, but now we do have so many of them. I had an inkling that there were one too many furry species, and then I sat down to write this video, and oh my god. So, in true Pointy Hat fashion, and just so you understand the severity of what I'm talking about, we're gonna go through them. Let's see exactly what are the furries on offer from official D&D sources. Just to be fair, I have not added other furry stuff that is definitely on D&D Beyond, but is not officially published by Wizards of the Coast. If I had, we would be here until Christmas. I'm also not inflating this number. Probably should not say inflating when I'm talking about this topic for reasons. Anyway, I'm not trying to make this number seem bigger. I'm not gonna sit here and count stuff like centaurs or satyrs. No, anthropomorphic animals only. Don't worry, it's not like there's not enough of that. You'll see. Ready? Let's go into the furry minds, baby. Number 1, the many furries of D&D.
Human familiar!
If you thought the hat was gonna go through a numbered list as long as this one is, you don't know him at all. A, Aarakocra. 2 A's at the beginning of the name? Methinks someone paid a premium to appear at the top of every list ever. Aarakocra are bird people, or should I say eagle and parrot people. Yes, it is that specific. As a matter of fact, these are all super specific, you guys. They come from the elemental plane of air, where they're just people there, except genies are the people of the elemental plane of air, so... Also, they're a relic from the TSR days. Even featheries date back to the first edition of D&D. And there's not much on them. The males are said to be extremely prone to anger issues. Cool. Along the same lines of, why is this here? There's this throwaway line in Realm Space, that's a Spelljammer thing from 2nd edition, that indicates that Aarakocra are just super horny. Just massive flirts. And it also specifies that this happens even if they're married. Good to know that the bird people of D&D are fans of pineapples. The other thing that like distinguishes them is that they hold the title, bestowed by me, of the most banned species in D&D on account of them being able to fly. Flight is seen as this extremely powerful, extremely hated, and extremely banned ability for any species. If your species can fly, more than likely it's getting banned. A lot of people hate it, and a lot of people think that you're a bad DM if you ban somebody because they can fly. I'm somewhat of an enlightened centrist when it comes to this. I just find it kind of sad that that's sort of their claim to fame. That and being first on every list. Moving on. B. Dragonborn. Scalies rise up. Yep, this sure is one of them. A lot of people pretend that Dragonborn is not a furry thing. I fail to see how. Is it because non-furries like this one and they feel weird being lumped in? Cope, embrace your cringe. What do you mean? It is a furry. Dragonborn by now are a D&D staple. They have become a core species and they only get more popular with like every year. As someone that doesn't vibe with any furry aesthetic, sorry y'all, it's just not for me. I am flabbergasted every time I see numbers concerning Dragonborn. Like when Larian dropped the player statistics for Baldur's Gate 3 and Dragonborn passed not just dwarves, not just half-orcs, but tieflings? Dragonborn are the 4th most popular species in that game. What gives? What? My working theory as to why this doesn't work on me is because I lack whatever gene makes children like dinosaurs. I never with those as a kid. And I think that translates into my adult life, just not with this either. A question for the philosophers. I already made like a 1,000-year-old video on Dragonborn. Check it out if you can stand it. I can't. But basically, the gist of them is that they're Vulcans. They're structured in tribes. They care a whole lot about honor. They're collectivists. They care about the needs of the group before the needs of the individual. You get it. They're the proud warrior species. We have like 17 of these. I see Dragonborn as like the furry D&D community's darling. Everyone loves them. And through the years, I've noticed that they've only getting more and more pandering, which good. People like them. This sort of has culminated in 2024, just making them a core species and pushing them even closer towards actual dragon. Like their abilities give them flight, their breath weapon is better, they get tails. Dragonborn fans care about the tails an insane amount. It never fails to astound me as to why this was important, but it was really important to them. Congrats. So yeah, Dragonborn have never felt more dragony and they've never been more popular. Moving on. C. The GIF. The GIF are just humanoid hippos. That's it. And yes, hippos. It is that specific. They're that and they're a joke on like GIF or GIF. A joke that was published in 2022. Oh boy, I'm not joking. That is a joke that was published in the Spelljammer book in 2022. 2022 GIF or GIF joke. Can't keep moving. Anyway, they're weirdly British coded. Like they have like the British naval uniform and they have like the whole like so much of their art is like them in British military garb. It feels like halfway through a parody and something that I find very cute. Like to me, I checked with friends and all these big animals do have British accents. Like if you tell me it's a walrus or it's a rhino or it's an elephant, I'm like, yeah, British. These are all Waiara animals. The other reason why they like military garb though is because they're often mercenaries. They don't really do the whole making choices for themselves. They like following orders and that's it. So they're mercenaries, but not in the chaotic, just every man for themselves vibe, and more in the company of sellswords, very rigidly structured hierarchy vibe. They just like to get ordered around. Kinky. Their other signature thing is being really good at weapons, to the point where every piece of art of them has them carrying a weapon, like a firearm, not like a sword. And their abilities reflect this, like instinctually they are good at weapons, firearms specifically. This always felt weird for like a big hunkering thing to be good at like dexterity aiming weapons, but sure. I generally never like when like abilities push you to a very specific build, even just martial build. But let's be honest here, how many times are these guys seeing play? You're just gonna play them once in a Spelljammer one-shot, unless you're really into hippos. All in all, despite them being like so situational, which is a weird thing to say for a species, I quite like these guys. They have this chill vibe to them that I really vibe with. I'm saying vibe a lot. And they have this Treasure Planet Don't say vibe. They have this Treasure Planet thing going on that I really enjoy. Anything that reminds me of Treasure Planet, I'm down. So let's talk about something that doesn't remind me of that, not even a little bit. Number D, Grung. 4 people in the audience cheered so loud right now. These people have 4 fans, and yet they are the loudest ones. I don't know why. Just people have something with frogs, I swear. Grung are poison dart frogs. Those are like the tiny ones that are really brightly colored from David Attenborough documentaries. In a move that D&D has pulled about, I wanna say 1,000 million times, Grungs are color-coded. Again, Grung's society is divided in castes, yes, again, and these castes are divided in color. Yes, Again, this has happened so many times in D&D that we already had frogs divided by color in D&D. This is how many times they've done this. It's the same thing as the slat. How did you do this twice? Okay, Crayola box time. Let's see the colors. There's green, the warriors, blue, the help, purple, the mumagers,
Ma papa.
red, the nerds. That's wrong. Red is a jock color. We all know this. Periwinkle, the influencers. Magenta, the hot ones. Orange, the Superman. And gold, the God's favorite princess cast.
24 karat gold, la baby.
And I only made 2 of those up. Can you guess which ones? Another fun tidbit about the grung is... Wanna guess? It's been a minute. Maybe you missed it. I certainly didn't. They have... interns! Whoa! Again, I missed it so much. I love it. Interns again. Wow, what was that? 2 videos without talking about this? These guys kidnap people and they feed them poison. Poison that they secrete, by the way. Yum, until they break those people that they have kidnapped's minds and have them as interns forever. This was supposed to be the Kermit the Frog cute ones. They made these guys for charity. Honestly, I really feel like they were going for like jungle, swamp, Ewok, and they shot the moon really bad and ended up with something so dark and so dire by mistake. This whole like breaking the minds of people is so bleak. Anyway, these are just barely relevant anymore, but some people just really like frogs, so here they are. Next, while we're here talking about furries, a normal thing to do, is good to take a minute and ask, where do these guys even come from? Incorporating all these species into a campaign world might seem complicated, but it's also a world building exercise that will make you better at world building. Maybe all these furries come from a favor from a god. He was traveling under a mortal disguise as a down on his luck vagabond, observing his creation and those that live in it. And the only creatures to assist him on a dark and stormy night were the farm animals that let him sleep in the barn without alerting the mean farmer. And boom, sentience, sheep furries. D&D will have you world building for stuff that you might not be originally interested in because your players are interested, and that's when World Anvil comes in. World Anvil has become an integral part on how I manage the amount of insane world building I like to get up to. And newsflash, this is what I discovered, an organizational tool like World Anvil will actually get you world building. It basically lets you make a wiki for your world, with articles that you can share with your players and secrets within those articles that you can keep from them until the big reveal, my favorite bit. But it's much more than that. It has timelines to keep track of the events of your world's history, interactive maps for more visual world builders so you can drop articles inside of a map, and it's also amazing for those of you that are into novel writing with actual novel writing software. And if you're the let's make my 58th character in a row type, guess what? You have every single 5e tool available and the perfect character builder alongside everything to write the backstory for your character, and not just for GMs. World Anvil supports basically every game. So if all of this sounds good, World Anvil has given me a code. It's Pointy Hat, all one word. Or just use the very first link in the description to get 51% off any yearly subscription. So more than half off for at least a year. But no sweat, use it and try it. You can use World Anvil's massive amount of free features first, and then see if you want to dig into the insanely useful paid ones. As I said, code Pointy Hat, one word, or first link in the description. And thank you to World Anvil for sponsoring this video. Now we can get back to the familiar, talking about furries. Hadozi. Hey Dozy? Doesn't matter, do not care. Oh boy, it's the one straight from my nightmares. Listen, come to Jesus moment here. I have an actually debilitating fear of monkeys, especially chimps. And these guys are so irrelevant that the most interesting thing about them is that they created some sort of controversy when Spelljammer came out. Not gonna touch that. I personally find them repulsive, but as I said, I cannot look at monkeys without my blood pressure spiking, so take that with a massive grain of salt. OG Spelljammer at that, which apparently means we cannot leave them behind. We didn't need all of those ship-to-ship combat rules, but apparently we cannot skip Disgusting Space Monkey. The ick factor is like multiplied by 10, because the thing about the Hadozi is that they have this cape skin flap thing attached to their back. I'm literally breaking out in hives. It's this like loose flap of skin. Who is this for? Who wants this? Is anyone into this? Comment below. Comment below if you're like, no, I wish I was a Hadozi. I'm tired of being human. I just want to meet the person that is out there going like, damn, D&D sure is nice, but I wish it would let me be a scrotum monkey. Who are you? Well, Sally, guess what? It's your lucky day. Anyway, they use their ballsack of flying to glide. And what annoys me the most about it is that it's a beautifully written, really useful ability. I hate it. It just basically makes it so you don't take fall damage and you advance a very long distance if you fall from high enough. It's a really well-written ability. You should go check it out. It's a shame it's attached to this. Moving on. F. Harengon. Alright, much more my speed. Little bunnies. Cracked out hares. I love both. Very much a newcomer to D&D. These guys showed up alongside Wild Beyond the Witchlight, which is often referred to as the best 5e adventure. It's either this or Strahd. People remain divided. And because they're so new, they don't have much of a deal, to be honest. They like to run. They literally are just rabbit people. That's kind of it. There's a line about embodying the spirit of freedom and travel. This means nothing, but it does translate to abilities kind of somewhat. They're really good at dexterity saving throws. And that's it. And they're good at jumping, which of course they are. They also avoid attacks of opportunity when jumping, which is really good. I'm surprised that they didn't make like a super martially focused species out of them. Good job. Go out there and make a bunny warlock of despair and darkness. What I really like about the Harengon is twofold. I like that they come in two sizes. This is true for most of the monsters of the multiverse species, including humans in 2024. The two sizes mean that you can be like the head of a rabbit and the body proportions of Dave from Sales. Or, I like this one, could just be a tiny little Muppet guy that is like a rabbit guy. I like that. I mean, the choice between the two is obvious to me, but you do you. The second reason why I f with these, no, not like that, you freak. I understand how much of a pet peeve this is, but this is why I have a channel. It's to say my pet peeves. I love fantasy forever since I've been alive, and yet I hate fantasy words so much.
Flames on the side of my face.
What the f is a Hadozi? What is a grung? A gif? GIF? Give me a break. I love when things are named a thing that immediately tells you what the thing is. And these guys are called Harengon because they're hares. And also it's a pun on here and gone. It's perfect. It's like Pokemon naming schemes. More of this. Don't make me say something as silly as Githyanki ever again. Number G. Kenku. Everyone's favorite. It's here. This is our second bird on the list. Yes, we needed to. We need to be specific. Kenku are humanoid crows?
It's crows, you dummy dum-dum.
Kenku are humanoid crows, and out of the furry pantheon of species, I think they're the most well-known one, at least to me. Well, and aside from Dragonborn. Their whole thing is that they can't fly, and apparently this is because some great sin that they committed against a god ages ago. Kenku don't remember, by the way, but that's the reason why they can't fly. They lost their flight. And apparently, Kenku are forever molding about this to the point where like their execution involves throwing one of them out of a very high place to remind them as they fall to their death of how much they cannot fly. I love this. This is insane and I love this. Whatever deity they pissed must have been really pissed because they weren't done with the flying thing. No, this god took away the Kenku's creativity. Like, in general. This is why their second trait that you probably know them for is here. Their mimicry. Kenkus cannot create even language. They can only regurgitate what others do, even speech. Which means that if you're playing a Kenku, you can only talk with segments of phrases that other people have said. Cursed by God to be AI. Insane, amazing, but insane. All this lore, by the way, 5e original. Kenkus have been around since 1981, but all this mimicry, no flying, all of this like beautiful, intricate, god petty thing, 5e original, pretty cool. 5e haters will find a way to be mad about this, unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I just think it's neat that like the latest edition gave everything that these guys are memorable for. Real talk here, playing Kenku sounds fun, and also like actual torture past like one shot of a session. Like the mimicry aspect sounds fun until it doesn't, and I feel like it doesn't very, very fast. To me, it becomes very tedious very quick, but I have seen some people really enjoy them, so. And also, the newest books let you just talk in common, but come on, are you gonna rob them of the thing that makes them them? Okay, how many next? Wait, we're not halfway done? No, absolutely not. Lightning round. Let's go. I, Kobold. Dragonborn but small. I like the dog noses though. I like the art with dog noses, and I hate when they take away the dog noses. Stop. J, Leonin. Lion people. Insane that Tabaxi was here, and they had to add this in. Also Magic the Gathering stuff. K, Lizard folk. Guess. L, Lokata. Fun word to say. Lokata. It's fish people. Fishal. Nope. Leave it in. Content. M, Loxodon. Loxodon? Who knows? Elephant people. Also, yes, we needed this as a separate one from GIF. N, Minotaur. Oh, we could have been M, Minotaur. Well, anyway, guess what this one is about. Yep, you did it. Good job. O, Owling. O for owling. It's the little things that keep me going. Also, yes, apparently we needed Aarakocra and this. They needed to be separate species. P, Tabaxi. The OG, the poster boy. No one can take the furry crown out of the cat boys. And finally, Q, Tortle. Guess. Again. And that's it. We did it! That's 15. 15 furry species. And now we're done. Now we get to move on. No, we're not. We're not done. Honorable mention time. I put down 3. 3 cream. I can't make fun of the gift thing and then do this. Honestly, I don't know if humanoid bugs are a stretch. Like, I don't think that furries are down for that, but they are animals. And I've seen what you freaks do to Hornet, so I'm putting them here. Real talk, I love bugs so much. I wish these were different because it's not hitting what I want it to hit, but they're here. Also in the honorable mentions, Yuan-Ti, just because I think it's funny. Every Yuan-Ti is a furry except for the ones you can play. It's like the anti-furry species. No Sneeple for us, but the monsters are very much that, so that's why it's here. And finally, Furbolg, which is and yet it isn't part of this. In official D&D, they sure are not. They're just Giantkin. But the piece of art for Furbolg was like vague enough that an artist for Critical Role identified their nose as like bovine, like a cow's. And so we got bovine Furbolg, and then the community kind of accepted that, and now we see a lot of bovine Furbolg because of Critical Role's influence. I love cows a lot, and how people draw Furbolg that way really resonates with me. I like them. I think they look cool, but at the same time, it's just not official. And I asked my Irish friends about this, and they don't like the cow thing. So I'm putting it in honorable mention. Not official canon, so not on the list. Okay, now I'm done. So, 15, 18 with honorable mentions. Let me drive the point home for you. There are roughly 40 playable species in official licensed D&D material. That's nearly half of them being anthropomorphic animals. Nearly 50%, 38% at the absolutely very least in the most conservative estimate. That's a wild percentage. Let's discuss. Number 2, the Furry Problem. Controversial title. Before we go off on our merry way fixing whatever, we must ask ourselves, is this a problem? Why is this a problem? Well, unfortunately, I'm quite plugged into the D&D community, F in chat for me, which means I have a good idea of the different arguments. So let's look at them. The first argument is that that's just too many. And I don't think that's true, necessarily. This is not a zero-sum game. There's not like a said number of species. I agree that 50% is an insanely high percentage, but that just means that furries are distributed commonly, not that we have reached furry critical mass. Having more furries doesn't mean having less species. The second argument is meaner, and it's that furries have no place in the game. You have no place around these parts, DeviantArt Sparkle Dog. The counter argument to this one is says who. As I've said, stuff like Kenku, Tabaxi, Aarakocra, those have been part of the game since the game has been a game. Humanoid animals are basically the earliest form of fantasy. We have seen them in every culture the world over. They might not belong in your game, that's okay, but in the game, that's quite a claim. You're gonna have to back that assertion up with some actual facts and logic that don't care about my feelings. The third one, see, this is the sneaky one that I actually agree with, is that this leads to an absolutely dreadful user experience for people that are just not into this. I have nothing against furries, no matter how many death threats I get from the dragon ones for not liking dragons, but as someone that is not particularly taken by the furry aesthetic and doesn't build characters around it, this amount of species is an insane amount of entries I have to scroll past to decide on species for every NPC I make, or like the 2 times a year I make a character to play. Look, I'm just gonna call it what it is. It's bloat. And here's the thing, I don't even think it's good for the people that like this. Aha! You thought this analysis will just be from one perspective. Guess again. Number 3, the counter argument. Player fantasy from a furry's point of view. So I've been ever so subtly complaining about how needlessly specific these species get. It's been real subtle, you probably haven't noticed. But here's the thing, the player fantasy that these are trying to fill don't just need this level of specificity. Oh no, they need more specificity. I look at Leonin and I'm flabbergasted that these made it through when Tabaxi are already in and so established. Why can't Leonin just be flavored Tabaxi? But I bet there's plenty of people out there that would like a specific species for tigers. And isn't it absolutely wild that there's no dog species? And even if there was, people would want a wolf one and then a fox one. You know how furries get about foxes? The player fantasy here is hyper-specificity. It's customizability. It's making your specific humanoid animal. So, what do? What is on offer is a bloated mess for people that don't care about it, and it also doesn't cater to the people that do want it. We have to please 2 types of audiences with diametrically opposed needs. The current arrangement pleases neither the furries nor the skinnies. It seems like we have our work cut out for us. So, let's get to it. Number 4. 1. To rule them all. When I've tackled things like this in the past, I've always set it back to stuff established in D&D lore, and I think it has never been more important to do so than here. It legit saddens me that so many tables ban furry stuff, and I think some tables might do so less if we tie it back to the history of the game. So let's start there. I found 3 promising avenues of furry research. The first one has already been talked about on this channel and on this video before. Our Lord and Savior, the Cat Lord. This guy is so cool that even I, a certified dog enjoyer, love him. The Cat Lord is ancient D&D lore, but it has recently resurfaced in the year of our Lord 2025 in the form of the Animal Lords. Comeback of the century. Animal Lords have been added to the new 5e monster manual, but they are ancient lore. They are celestials that look out for the interests of specific animals, basically the gods of said animals. They come from the Beastlands, which makes them even more interesting for our purposes, and they sure have the specificity we need. We know of salmon Animal Lords. Salmon! That's specific. Okay, fine. This was just an excuse to show the drawing I made for the Monster Manual video again. Look at him, my baby. The second one is small but interesting. At the very beginning of the 2024 update to the 5e core books, there was a player option that almost became a PHB core species, the Artling. Wizards of the Coast put these up for feedback, and people didn't like it. And so the Artling were dropped immediately like a ton of bricks.
There was, however, in that survey, one friend who isn't going to make it, and that is the Artling.
See, it's totally worth it to have encyclopedic, borderline photographic knowledge of all this stuff. I can pull up obscure interviews to prove my point. See, it was useful, Mom. Real talk, the reason why the Artling failed so miserably is that they were introduced at the wrong place and at the wrong time. The furry contingent doesn't want this, because Artlings were like Egyptian gods. Aesthetically, it was like literally just the head of an animal on a fully human body. Furries want the whole fantasy. Remember the thing about Dragonborn tales? Yeah, Artlings were just not gonna cut it for them. And the rest of the people that are not furries did not want this as the celestial option at all, myself included. But I still believe there was something there. The third avenue is much more obscure, but much more connected to lore than Artlings. There's this thing called a Henge Yokai. They've been in D&D since AD&D, and they last showed up in 4th edition, so they have history. The reason they are not in 5e yet, I suspect, is because they are very much tied to the setting of Karator, also known as the Land of Discourse. And I'm not touching that at all. Anyway, a Henge Yokai is complicated. They are often described as literally animals. They were fae in 4e, and they have yokai in the name, which can be translated about like 7 different ways. For our purposes though, what you gotta understand is that they were just furries. They are animalistic humanoids, and very specific animals at that. There were carp Henge Yokai, mantis Henge Yokai, puppy dog Henge Yokai, kitty cat Henge Yokai, the works. And their thing was shapeshifting. They could go from anthropomorphic animal form, furry, to completely animal form, to straight up human. Okay, do you see it? A pattern is emerging. We can coalesce all of these into one. We have found the lore-friendly key to our riddle. Let's go. We think guardian angels are the purview of people, but nothing could be further from the truth. Beasts have their celestial defenders, and the lords of animals are perhaps even more zealous in their protection than those that watch over people. So zealous are they in their guardianship that the animal lords are not above requesting help to keep those under their care safe. But the will of man is fickle and changing, and so the lords of beasts created people of their own to assist them in their stewardship. That's how the animal folk were born. The lords realized that it was often people and not nature that endangered the existence of the animals they were sworn to protect. And so, they made people of their own to advocate for their brethren and rise up to defend them. The animal folk are people like any other. They create societies, enclaves, civilization, but civilization tailored to the needs of folk and beast alike. They're free to lead their lives however they desire, except for the ingrained duty bestowed upon them to always protect their beastly siblings. This impulse to protect supersedes every other want or need. Able to shapeshift and blend in both the world of man and the world of beast, the animal folk are the eyes, ears, but also the hand of the animal lords in the mortal planes. Just like no two animal lords are the same, no two animal folk are alike. Although patterns do emerge, beekin and antkin build impossibly large structures, raising their children communally into a bustling hive that rivals the grandest cities of man. Beekin and antkin build impossibly large structures, raising their children communally into a bustling hive that rivals the grandest cities of man.
The ever-moving migrating whalekin are often storytellers, sharing what they learned of their travels through song. And the gentle and strong Aarakocra often find themselves as wealthy merchants and traders, carrying their whole stores up on their backs, as busy as any member of the animal folk might be with their own goals and dreams. They'll never be too busy to not turn a helping hand to their bestial siblings. It's the covenant between the animal folk and their lords.
What about that?
One single species that encompasses all options. It declutters the insane bloat of species for people that are just not into this, but the people that are into it get exactly what they want because it works with a point system. Select the exact traits you would like your animal folk to have, and presto, you have your exact animal that plays like that animal. You want to play a bat? Pick dark vision and flight. You want to play a whale? Pick carrying capacity and all the swimming abilities. And for those of you that care about lore and precedent in D&D, this is 100% both a blend and a continuation of existing canon, with animal lords, with artlings, and with the Henge yokai, and their whole shifting ability.
But, all this homebrewing, all this DMing, when am I gonna put my money where my non-existent mouth is? Well, at PAX Unplugged, where I'll be DMing live for the very first time. It's just a 2-hour adventure, it's completely free for anyone with a ticket to the convention, and it's first come, first serve. That's right, I'm making my live DMing debut with an adventure I wrote all by myself, and I'm playing with my friends because I'm terrified. Ginny D, Whale from D&D Shorts, and Persephoros from Dimension 20 fame will be going through a time-themed adventure that I wrote and came up with all on my own, and uses a bunch of the stuff I've made for this channel. Battlefield actions, yep. Timey-wimey mess, yep. Real talk, I'm terrified, but I'm also really excited to show y'all what I can do as a DM, which is why it's free. If you can access the convention, you can come, which means please show up early because it's truly first come, first serve. It will be Saturday, November 22nd at 7 p.m. at the Mothman Theater, Grand Ballroom A. I'm stupid, so I'm excited that it's called Mothman Theater. Links below with all the info. So I hope I see y'all there. Y'all were literally the only reason I got through my first live game at Gen Con, and your support here at PAX U for my first time DMing in front of an audience would mean the world, because it would feel more like I'm DMing in front of people that know me and like me just a little bit. So if you've been curious as to how I actually DM, I'll see you at PAX Unplugged. And back to the animal furries thing, which of course, free down below right next to the PAX Unplugged link with the info.
And if you still don't want furries in your own game, that's okay. How about instead a completely different take on the Dragonborn? What I did to them sure is different and not a furry. Or if you want to go even more classic, how about orcs? I made them green. That should be draw enough. Okay, hugs and kisses to your local shelter. Bye! Come see me DM. I am very scared. Mwah!